I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Making deep connections is just different in the digital age. Technology can both bring us together and keep us feeling quite isolated. NextAge Season 2 continues today with a look at technology as a relationship tool. NextAge is made possible in part by the West End Home Foundation, advancing aging with dignity and strengthening communities. And support comes from BlueCross BlueShield of Tennessee. So dating apps can be daunting for those who haven't been swiping screens since birth. And there are no codes to crack for finding love online or off. We're going to start, though, by being a fly on the wall as a dating coach helps a frustrated dater looking for love in the second half of life. It starts with punching up that online profile. This piece was produced by This Is Nashville contributing editor Natasha Simjonovic.
My name is Susan Scott. I'm 59. I've never been married. I haven't really had a lot of relationship experience, and I wasn't doing well when it came to dating. So I thought, why not reach out to a professional and get some professional advice?
Nadine Jimenez Langaña. My company is Matchmaking Nashville. I'm a dating coach and a matchmaker. So Susan, I will start with, this is something that I think has a lot of power when you say like you're fearless, because you are fearless. You always try new things. And I think that's very attractive and that's very confident. This part about to share a fun, balanced life as best friends, it makes guys paint a picture in their mind like, oh yeah, I want to be fun. I want to have a balanced life and I want to spend it with my best friend. I'm just adding a little thing at the end that says, let's meet and see if sparks fly. So this is a very clear signal that you want to meet in person. What do you think about this?
I think that's great. I love it.
Now let's go to your causes and communities. You put here feminism, LGBTQ rights, and human rights. That's great because you're being honest and you're being open about your causes, but feminism can turn away some guys that might be okay with those causes when they actually learn what they mean to you. But it can be adversarial towards masculinity.
I'll take that into consideration. I love teaching. I love helping people grow, but I'm looking to date.
I will just kind of change it to equality and mutual respect and leave human rights, something like that.
Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it.
So mostly good on the pictures. I would still like a professional headshot. My other suggestion is always to have some kind of an activity that shows your character. It's more like show, don't tell. I will add a picture of you actually dancing. You're not dating because your life is not full. You're dating because you want a partner and you want a relationship long term.
After you've been on them for a little while, it seems like you're not getting all of those new hits or whatever. So is there a way to refresh that algorithm of sorts?
Two different suggestions. If you have been there for years, I actually say close completely your profile and start new with another email account and just create it from scratch again. If not, things like changing your pictures, changing your prompts and things like that, the algorithm is going to see you care and you are actively dating, so it's going to reward it. And also you're going to see the different reactions from different people. So it's going to bring you more people to match with.
Prior to the dating coach, I don't want to say that I would just be like, oh, I'm just, I want somebody no matter what. But I think I didn't appreciate myself like I should have.
I love hearing that because it's so important and it's so noticeable, just now how you treat yourself as the prize that you are and the catch that you are.
Some free advice from Nadine of Matchmaking Nashville with her client, Susan Scott, working on that online profile. So important. And that piece beautifully produced by Natasha Sinyanovich. So we're going to stick with the apps as we start this episode and finding relationships. We're talking to a couple of folks who've got digital love stories of their own. Joining us now are Julie Grower and Chuck Taylor. Separate relationships that, to my knowledge, you all did not know each other before today.
That's
I don't think so.
Well, welcome to the show, and for letting us, hear some of your own personal stories. As a reminder, we're streaming, as we often do with live episodes, at youtube.com/@WPLN. So if you want to watch, if you want to shout out our lovely guests, they'd love to hear the encouragement, and we'll get it to them here live on the air. So Julie Grower, talk to me about what you thought of dating apps before you found yourself using them yourself.
When I was much younger, living in New York, I used Match for a little while. And at the time, I have to admit, it was kind of nice just getting some free dinners.
Ah.
But I didn't really take it seriously, and I didn't use it for a very long time. And then I completely stopped using apps. Until COVID, frankly.
Really?
I always thought that I was just going to meet someone organically because I'm a social person and I have a lot of interests. And I thought, okay, I'll be going out, I'll be doing the things I do, and I'll just meet somebody. And, that happened early on, but then that relationship ended. My first marriage ended. And
you're saying you met your first husband in a more organic way, you might call it.
Just a live social situation. Yes.
Old school, they say.
Old school. And I was a little bit isolated, obviously, during COVID, but I was seeing a therapist, and she started dropping little hints about maybe I should try it. And I really poo-pooed it for a while.
Well, what was your hesitation?
Again, I thought it was in my mind. I thought of it as kind of an artificial way of meeting somebody.
And why does it feel artificial? I feel it's there was a time people kind of thought, oh, we met online. I know, but that's weird. But well, now I feel like it's almost unusual if people met in IRL. So yeah, why does it feel artificial?
At the time, I think I was just so used to being in social situations and meeting people and thinking that the chemistry was all of it,
I see. The chemistry that you notice off the bat.
Right.
Yeah. Chuck Taylor, when did you start working those apps?
Well, I'm sort of different from Julie. A few years after my divorce, I went to my son. I said, what about this online dating thing?
Help me out.
Help me. And I am not a social person. I'm more wallflower than anything, or was. And he went over the basics of online dating. And okay, I got it. So I went forth. And I got a couple of surprises. And it was a learning experience.
Okay, well, I have to ask, what were the surprises?
Well, you don't go meet somebody just based on headshots.
Got it.
And you need a little more information than, I'll meet you for coffee.
Got it.
And you need to understand, I wasn't a 10. I'm not a 10.
A 10 as in like on a scale of 1 to 10.
10 being
looks.
hot.
Got it.
And so 10s date 10s, etc. So I need to lower my expectations.
How do you put that in your profile? I'm not looking for a 10 over here.
It's total expectations on my part.
Got it. Well, did the experience improve at some point after you kind of figured out how to work it?
Oh, yeah. And on a regular basis, I would get coffee dates, and some of them would be like, we're not even close to matching to, yeah, we're progressing, etc. But then like 2 or 3 years ago, I noticed a change. People were putting less information on their profile.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures were less. In fact, there was more headshots and less pictures of activities and etc.
I see. What, you think for privacy reasons people were clamping down, or what were you seeing?
Don't know.
I see.
Don't know, but I just noticed, and therefore the back and forth went down too.
Yeah.
So,
well, so Julie, would you kind of help us out on what when your therapist nudged and you pushed it off and then finally relented, perhaps. You tried out some apps. What did you go with? Because there are some that are designed for folks who are in the latter stage of life, not in the early years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tend to do a lot of research on anything that I get involved with, and so I did a whole bunch of online research, and I think I tried out 2 or 3 apps. The one that I wound up with did have a way to screen by age and was very accurate in terms of the age group that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that impressed me the most about the app that I finally went with, which was Zoosk.
Zoosk.
Yeah.
So Zoosk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was that first off, I noticed that it had a really rigorous authentication process, and that made me feel safer.
You're saying your own authentication.
Mm-hmm.
Authentication. I was like, what am I
It's
doing
a
with that
hard
word?
word, I know.
But you're saying you had to jump through a bunch of hoops to verify who you were. You think if other people are having to do this, that's a good sign.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, were you using this is not an app I was familiar with before getting ready for today's show. Maybe it's huge. I don't know. But like, were there enough people, or was that in New York where there are more people?
Oh, I was already living here.
Yeah.
And yeah, there seemed like a lot of people on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they all found out about it because it isn't one of the bigger ones.
Right.
But, maybe not quite as much as the larger, more well-advertised apps.
Yeah.
But certainly enough people to cull through.
How did you go about developing a profile? We heard this at the top with Nadine from Matchmaking Nashville. I don't know. It seems like it could be a semi-awkward experience to, like, how do I sell myself to a potential, companion?
Well, the interesting thing is that for me, it was a really good learning process to have to build a profile because it forced me to put on paper who I was and what I was looking for. And it kind of gave some structure to it for me.
And what did you realize you were looking for?
Well, some of the aspects I was looking for is somebody who was liberal-minded, who was kind of outdoorsy and liked nature, who was stable and responsible, and who was looking for long-term relationship.
You'll never find it, You actually did, right?
I did.
Well, tell me about this catch.
Well, he's kind of a private person.
Yeah.
And doesn't like to. He's not like me. I'm in that I'm kind of loose and outgoing. He's a little bit more shy and reserved. But I will say that he's a professor and very smart and intellectual.
Yeah.
And has had the same job for many years. And loves his work.
Yeah.
And loves being creative in his work. And those were things
and now
that
the
appealed to
apps,
me.
you just let those subscriptions expire.
That's right.
Chuck, talk to me about your experience because you've been through a number of the apps, and when we talked earlier, it sounded like you had gone south on them, that you sort of ditched most of those. Why?
That's right. I went with popular paid apps, several of them, 3 or 4, and I've ditched them because total scammers all over them. I
Really?
was spending most of the days deleting them.
And you were paying for this.
And I was paying for it. It just rubbed me the wrong way. So now I'm down to just the free one, Facebook app. And the paid or otherwise, they all had the same problem.
I see.
I'm in Nashville. I just want to meet somebody in the Nashville area. And I could have 500 swipes, and I don't think I'd get 1% from Nashville.
Really?
Yeah.
But Julie, you're nodding your head. Did you find the same thing, that it was sort of trying to connect you with folks all over the country?
To a certain extent, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just seems, I know people get together that way, but it just seems a little challenging to start out with somebody who might be on the other side of America.
That's true.
Too expensive.
And too expensive, yes. We need to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. Julie and Chuck are going to stick with us as we also bring in an expert, a former sociologist for Tinder and Bumble. So strap in for this. But we need to take a quick break. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Like the warmth from the sun, and this will be our year. Took a long time to come. Don't let go of my hand now, the darkness has gone. This will be our year. Took a long time to come, and I won't forget the way you held me up when I was down, and I won't forget.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners. And Amazon, proud sponsor of WPLN's daily show, This is Nashville. Engaging our differences so we can discover our unity. More on Amazon's community work at aboutamazon.com. And Margaret W. Wong and Associates, providing a range of immigration services for companies and individuals with attorneys and staff who speak English, Spanish, Mandarin, and many more languages. Learn more at imwong.com. And BlueCross BlueShield of Tennessee, serving the young and young at heart right here in Tennessee for more than 80 years. BlueCross BlueShield of Tennessee. Learn more at bcbst.com.
You have an ever-growing to-do list, and updating the credit card information for your sustaining membership may have slipped your mind. Go to wpln.org/card update and check it off your list. Peace of mind for you, funding for your public radio station.
Tennessee's school voucher program, threats to federal funding for colleges and K-12 schools. I'm WPLN education reporter Camelia Burris, here to explain how these changes impact your family.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Dating apps are so commonplace at this point that our next guest wrote her doctoral thesis about online dating. We're continuing NextAge Season 2 with a look at dating apps and digital literacy in the second half of life. Dr. Jess Carbino is a sociologist who previously worked for the apps Tinder and Bumble, and now is a dating coach and sharing her expertise with us today. Jess, thank you so much for joining. This is Nashville.
Hi, Blake. Thank you very much for having me.
And sticking with us are newlywed, not that newly, Julie Grower, and frustrated app user. That's what we'll call him, Chuck Taylor. Jess, I'll just warn you that during the break, Chuck said, I am going to want to ask her a question, if that's okay. I said, listen, maybe we'll even start with it. Who knows? As a reminder to listeners, we're streaming at youtube.com/@WPLN. Chuck, do you mind if I do the first question? Is that okay?
That's okay.
All right, great. All right, so Pew Research finds that 1 in 3 relationships start online. And I'm wondering, is that true for older adults too?
Well, I believe the data is relatively consistent across the board. Pew has not really done a good job of breaking down that data by age, but the overwhelming majority of information available suggests that individuals online dating apps to meet romantic partners, because traditional institutions that historically connected people have declined in significance for many people, such as educational institutions, religious institutions, as well as communities and families, as people begin to live far more geographically distant from their families and friends, they are relying on other sources to connect them. So I think that this data is definitely relevant among younger individuals, and I believe it would also be relatively consistent with older individuals. And moreover, I welcome Chuck's question, so please feel free to ask.
Well, Chuck, even as she's talking about people being disconnected, I mean, you're from Alaska originally. Like,
Yes.
I imagine you're sort of scattered all over and could probably identify with some of that.
Yeah. My question, Doc, is trying to keep a online conversation going. Usually I ask open-ended questions where the other person has to answer me back, hoping they will ask an open-ended question of me. But generally, they just answer the question, end a conversation. How can I get them to continue the conversation?
Chuck, this is an issue that so many individuals with whom I've worked have faced. It's quite common. I think that texting norms are so different from in-person conversation norms where you ask an open question and then it's reciprocated, or at least in an ideal or normal conversational style, it would be reciprocated. I think that one way of trying to lead with that would be to, or address this issue, would be to ask them something about themselves that you also relate to and make that known in the question, such as, I really connect with this issue, or I really understand this because of X. Tell me more about you. And because you've put it out there that you understand it, ideally that would also prompt them to do so as well if it is not immediately successful.
Well, Chuck's taking furious notes over here. He's sending messages right now. He's no, he's not. He's not. And for listeners, I'm saying this because if you can't hear, Dr. Carbino is joining us remotely. Can you talk to us about some of the misconceptions that you find among older adults in how to use dating apps, or maybe what to expect from them?
Well, I believe that one thing that's really become quite commonplace is relying on younger individuals like friends and family, as Chuck did with his son, to look to them for guidance and to look to them for support and tips and tricks, because it can be a daunting process to digital natives, let alone to individuals who have long-standing patterns of meeting people in person or meeting people through friends and family. And this is relatively new terrain for them. So I would certainly say to rely on a younger cohort of individuals to do this. While people might potentially stereotype older individuals as being less tech savvy, I find that a lot of older individuals with whom I work are quite tech savvy. You know, they're still active in the labor force. They still communicate with friends and family via WhatsApp and Facebook, and other platforms. So I would say have more confidence in your skills and rely on individuals in your network who are your age or younger, who can provide you with that capacity to create a profile and to reach out.
Yeah, Julie Grower, it didn't sound like you were needing tech support or something from younger friends.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of a challenge to it, but what I wound up using was pretty straightforward. And I did have to contend with a lot of technical challenges in the workplace throughout, the last 20 years of my work life.
Yeah, I imagine that most people who would be using apps at this point at least were using technology in work. Have a smartphone or something. Jess, you worked for Tinder and Bumble, and I don't know what the rap is on all the apps these days. But I wonder how those apps approach older adults. And I'm just thinking, like, Tinder, I thought had the rap as kind of a hookup app. Like, is that even an app that older adults, are using?
I did extensive research at both Tinder and Bumble using focus groups involving individuals of all ages. And frankly, while Tinder does have that reputation, or historically had that reputation, Tinder data indicate that the overwhelming majority of individuals of all ages are looking for a relationship. I think that the media created this narrative, but fundamentally, I think all of the apps are really trying to cater to individuals who are putting in the effort to find a romantic partnership. Finding a hookup for many individuals is not all that challenging. if you put yourself out there, finding a relationship is. And so the overwhelming majority of individuals using dating apps regularly and diligently are not, looking exclusively for hookups. Hookups might happen along the way in the course of their romantic partnership journey, but it's not the primary goal.
Chuck, can you talk about this? Because I know in prepping for today, you had said, that you, I think, realized that physical connection, even simply physical touch, not necessarily sexual, it was sort of, it is what you were looking for in that sort of companionship. So can you kind of talk to me about the difference in using an app when it's, let's say, more kind of because we need a body close to me and something that's true companionship?
Yeah.
He's turning red. If you're not
He's
watching.
got me now.
Well, listen, I did say you're always welcome to pass. You don't have to answer.
Yeah. Touch is important to me.
Yeah.
Sex is too.
Yeah.
But there is a difference between the two.
Right.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, understood. Julie, do you want to help out at all?
Repeat the question.
I won't. We'll just move on. I'm wondering if you could Jess, help us out with approaching profiles, because we even had some advice going around here about how to, what to do with your photo, what's kind of a best practice, how to describe yourself in a way that gets you what you want. Is there anything kind of some sort of like 3 tips that could be helpful to listeners?
Well, I think that fundamentally individuals do a really good job of trying to put themselves out there. At the same time, they're not always successful in doing so because people have a really hard time describing themselves and often default to very pedestrian and very nondescript ways of saying who they are and what they want. So, for example, if people say, I like to go to the mall, I like to go out to dinner, and I like to exercise. So do, the overwhelming majority of individuals in many metros who are seeking a romantic partner. But that does not distinguish you from everyone else in your demographic range within a specific metro. So I would really encourage people to think about, what is it about you that's unique? Everyone has a hard time saying that about themselves. People are not trained to think about themselves as special or socialized to think of themselves as different. But fundamentally, we all have something about ourselves that is unique. And so I would tell people to be explicit about that and also to lead with positivity. Nobody wants to see somebody in a profile saying, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't want this, I don't want that. Lead with who you are. And in the process of culling through profiles and communicating with people, you can figure out whether or not this person possesses what you want, not rather leading with it.
I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. We're joined by sociologist Jess Carbino, formerly of dating apps Tinder and Bumble. We also have dating app users Chuck Taylor and former user Julie Grower also with us. Jess, how explicitly do you see older adults talking about what they're looking for in terms of a physical relationship or intimacy in these kind of online dating situations?
Well, in terms of on their public profile or with me in interviews and focus groups?
Well, I imagine that probably is a little different. I'm thinking about the public profile.
The public profile, it's less explicit. And I think it's less explicit generally for people of all ages, unless somebody is being very directed about wanting a certain type of sexual relationship. So people who are seeking out relationships that are more than just sexual tend to not name that. Yeah. It's not something that is explicit fundamentally.
As you heard, we were talking a little bit about the varying the different apps that are available, and some are designed for older adults. Do you have your clients, do you recommend they try them all, or is there something valuable in having apps that are a little more tailored to folks in the second half of life?
Well, I think that there is value to obviously trying an app that caters to a demographic in their second act. However, I think that online daters are similar to daters who are older are similar to daters who are younger. I think that the average dater has relatively few, but a couple dating apps in their portfolio. They have roughly 3 to 4 on average. And so I would say to daters, think about what it is you're looking for. Like, are you looking to share your life with somebody who also is a similar faith? Then potentially pick an app that is consistent with that goal, and then be on a few apps that are far more mainstream as well.
Julie, I'm wondering if you, having had success with this, have found yourself sharing your experience with others and maybe getting back varying that other people maybe have not found it so easy. I mean, basically, the first guy you went out with, you married. Am I right?
That's true. I actually.
Well, Chuck can't even believe it. He's guffawing over here.
I met up with a second person.
Okay.
Very soon after.
Which confirmed that the first looked no further.
Right.
But really, how do you share your experience knowing that some people do get frustrated?
Yeah. But I will say that I spent a good amount of time texting back and forth before I made the decision to see him in person.
Really? How long are we talking about?
Gosh. It probably was a week or two of conversation and maybe like 4 or 5 different exchanges. And I really read the text carefully to see if this was somebody, one of the things he did was he knew that I was involved with music and brought up the fact that he had been to Europe and experienced some wonderful music there. And I felt like, well, that was nice that he took the time to talk about something that he knew I was really interested in. So that was that. And then
he was getting advice from Jess here, it sounds like.
Maybe. Yeah. And then more to your question, what's interesting is when people asked me how he and I met, and I told them it was on an app, I discovered that way more people were meeting that way than I ever thought. They would say, oh, yeah, that's how I met so-and-so, or this is how my aunt or uncle met their person, or my cousin. And I was like, wow, I thought I was the only one.
So once you started sharing this, you really it became clear, like, oh, everybody is kind of in the same boat here. Jess, our time's short with you, but can you kind of talk about helping your clients and our listeners balance, swiping in the apps with in-person opportunities? Because I could see people, you could swipe all day and kind of give up on in-person and then be in the boat where Chuck is, where it's like, I think that maybe the apps are dead and I need to get back out there.
Well, I think the fatigue that you are speaking to and that Chuck has experienced is real, Blake. And I think that for individuals who are facing that issue, which is, I would say, ubiquitous, that people should treat it like they would treat any other type of regimen, whether it's exercise, diet, etc. Moderation is key. So if you are really diligently using the apps daily, 30 minutes a day should be adequate. Say I'm going to swipe for, 15 minutes a day, and then 15 minutes a day I'm going to answer, messages from people, and be really mindful about the time you're using it so that you don't experience this fatigue and sense of burnout that is really prevalent among so many daters and can lead to people leaving the apps, as Chuck has done.
Are the apps getting worse? Seems like a strange word, but is there something happening that people are sharing less, or the algorithms over time, kind of get mucked up? Are you noticing anything from your vantage point?
I think that fundamentally people are just frustrated with dating, and dating apps are now the fundamental mechanism by which people connect.
I see.
So I think that what's being transmitted via media and through people is this frustration with dating that has been present for millennia. It's much easier to blame a dating app, which is solely focused on connecting individuals relative to institutions that provide more than one function and historically connected people. I mean, you're not going to say, oh, my Aunt Susan's really failing me in the dating department, even though 50 years ago, Aunt Susan might have been the primary broker of your romantic partnerships.
You say my church is just not delivering on
Right.
a new spouse. Great points. Are you what are you taking from this, Chuck? Are you going out the door with a lesson?
Yeah. Revisit my profile.
Okay.
I'm upping my out there on the social scene.
In other words, in person, in real life.
In person, yeah, I'm upping that some more.
Yeah, well, listen, you might find Chuck on a stage somewhere near you. He's doing improv. He's doing stand-up comedy.
This Sunday.
This Sunday?
This Sunday.
Where?
Third Coast Comedy.
Third Coast Comedy.
4 o'clock.
Catch Chuck
My
Taylor.
4 minutes of fame.
4 minutes of fame for Chuck Taylor. I want to just say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Jess Carbino, sociologist and online dating expert. Really appreciate you joining us and helping us talk through this.
My pleasure. Good luck, Chuck. Take care.
Thank you.
And many thanks to Chuck Taylor and Julie Grower for sharing their app experiences. Thank you for being here. We're going to close out the episode with a little tech support and a safety briefing of sorts. We hope that you'll stay with us. This is Nashville.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners. And the Tennessee Education Lottery, proud to have raised nearly $8 billion to support education programs in Tennessee. More information about programs funded by the lottery is available online at tnlottery.com. And Curry Ingram Academy, now accepting applications for Camp Beach Creek at Curry Ingram in Brentwood. From robotics to water slides, designed to be a well-rounded summer of fun. More at curryingram.org/camp. And Hands On, powered by United Way of Greater Nashville, serving 9 counties across Middle Tennessee. Volunteer information at handson.unitedwaygreaternashville.org.
I'm Scott Tong in China this week ahead of the Trump-Xi summit. One big topic is Taiwan. U.S. policy has been ambiguous, carefully worded to maintain the status quo and avoid conflict.
The Trump administration, by pursuing the summit diplomacy, is leading some in Taiwan to doubt the U.S. commitment. And Beijing wants to exploit that.
That's next time and Here and Now.
This afternoon at 1 on 90.3 WPLN News.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Love is beautiful. Romance and intimacy can still give you butterflies no matter the age. I think sometimes people don't believe it, and then it happens to them when they're 75, and they think, God, this is beautiful. There is, however, a bit of a dark side to the digital age. Seniors are often the targets of scams and seen as more vulnerable, especially if they're recently widowed. According to the Federal Trade Commission, nearly 70,000 people reported being a victim of a romance scam in 2022, and they lost a reported $240 million collectively. Unfortunately, scams are ever evolving and hard to know how to know when one is. And listen, if you've even looked at your phone today, you probably have a text message that is a scam. This episode on deep connections in the digital age wraps up here with a chat about safety and general digital literacy. Bree Clark is a program manager at the Senior Renaissance Center. Bree, thank you for being on This is Nashville.
Thanks for having me.
Rachel Solava's advocacy manager with digital literacy for seniors at the Greater Nashville Regional Council. Welcome.
Thank you.
And June Moore is member of the Seniors on the Move, who participated at Tech Goes Home with More Computing. Bit of a mouthful, but Tech Goes Home, it's a 1-week, 15-hour course. The basic computer skills are kind of surrounding the Chromebook. I think that's something, Rachel, you teach, correct?
Our agency helped with the grant funding
The
for that
agency
course.
helps. Well, June,
Yes.
congratulations on completing this course. I hope
Thank
you got at least a certificate or something.
Yes, we did.
There was a certificate.
Yes.
Well, I hope that is up on the wall somewhere.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, understandable.
And a
yes.
free Chromebook, right?
Oh, yes.
It comes with a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes,
all right.
at
Well,
the end,
there's
you
a
have to-
reason.
yeah.
15 hours of work pays pretty well. Reminder to listeners: we're streaming at youtube.com/@WPLN if you'd like to watch today. It's also a good place in the chat to shout out our guests. Bree, can you talk about what this targeting of older adults looks like? And I think a lot of us have now run into something. But yeah, what are the stories you hear?
Targeting is key. I think too often we talk about older adults being the vulnerable population, but I like to remind people that the scams work because of relevance. The older you are, the more years of experience, the more connections, the more opportunities there are. And so the targeting...
And even more money at times.
More money. I often remind the folks I teach, I do not draw Social Security. I am not a Medicare beneficiary. I do not fall for scams where those are the topics, right? I'm not a grandparent.
You.
They're not targeting me. Or if they do, it's not going to work, right?
Are you reframing that because people will feel bad about themselves if they've, let's say, fallen for one?
Absolutely. There's shame. And then I think there's also, it's like equated with intelligence. And so I find that the people who are actually more independent and geared towards solving their own problems are the ones that click on the links where their information's taken or their money is put at risk. That tends to be my experience.
Instead
the people,
of asking someone for help. Yes. Understandable. Are they really more vulnerable when they're looking for love? Is that something you're seeing?
I think so, because I think that we have some long, outdated advice that these scams are obvious and that the people who are behind the scams are unsophisticated.
Yeah.
And so absolutely, you're looking for companionship or you're looking for connection, and you may not even realize that that's what you're looking for.
June, how often are you feeling targeted by scammers?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Like what kind of scams?
Right now, they're doing a scam on taxes.
Yeah.
And police parties or programs that they're having.
Yeah.
That's the two I get the most.
Well, they come from every direction. Rachel, how do you all prepare folks who go through your 15-hour program?
We think that, digital citizenship and staying safe online is at the foundation of our classes. So they are learning from day one. You're turning on that Chromebook. You're making a Gmail email account for the first time, possibly. And we want to build that confidence, but also keep you alert and educated on those scams that are ever changing. So it's kind of this nice edge of, we want you to be online, we want you to feel confident, but also stay safe.
Do you sense generally that people are aware that there is danger lurking, or that they and perhaps makes them hesitant, or that they are unaware just how much danger is out there?
We see all kinds.
Yeah.
There's definitely fear and hesitation from some participants who go through the class. I think it's based in even, I don't want to break this computer. I'm scared to even touch it or do something wrong. Definitely in terms of I don't want to click on the wrong link, but even I'm so intimidated by this technology that I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. June, how would you rate your savviness before or after the program?
I think it's helped me a whole lot more. They taught us how to recognize the different, what you call those little codes that they put on there. And if it doesn't match you, if you feel like you should not touch it, leave it alone.
You're talking about those verification codes that are for a two-factor authentication?
Even something that comes up and says, you owe.
Which sometimes can even though I feel as though I'm hyper aware, when you get a text that's like, you owe the Texas Department of Transportation $250 for, driving on this toll road, I'm just like,
And
well,
I
I
don't
did
drive.
drive on a toll road, so I don't know.
Right.
I can understand why. You would. Have you found yourself?
No.
Oh, really?
No, because I don't have the money to be giving away.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe that's the best defense. Like, listen, I'm not giving you money. I don't. Just getting by.
I got grandbabies.
Yeah.
Scamming me.
Do you find yourself using technology to stay connected to other people, whether that's friends and family or even more intimate relationships?
Well, mostly friends and family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Social media?
Social media, yeah, I'm on it mostly for heads up.
Mm-hmm.
Not really believing everything that I see there.
Heads up, what do you mean?
Well, heads up about the news, heads up about what my family's doing, even some new interesting things that I might want to try.
Yeah.
I do scrapbooking and I do card making, so I can get a lot of information on that too.
I see. So you're staying in the know. Bree, at the Renaissance Center, Senior Renaissance Center, it is now. How much are y'all prepping people on kind of the dating apps? Obviously, more people are using them. I know Chuck, who was on the program, I think had this idea that if it's a subscription, you don't have to worry as much about scammers. Then learn that wasn't the case at all. Like, how do you help folks navigate?
We haven't explicitly led any classes on dating, but I know folks are dating online. I get a lot of questions that are more hidden beneath the surface of what they're really asking.
Oh, they don't want to ask.
What I tend to get question-wise, folks are kind of like what Chuck is saying, using Facebook. So people might be reconnecting, or maybe they've divorced and reconnected with a friend or someone they knew in high school. So it is dating, but I think it's also kind of going back to just forming new connections that may not be referred to as dating.
Yeah.
So I try to let people understand that it's so easy to for someone to create a profile that looks like a person that you otherwise would trust, and how easy it is for our brains to see a photo of someone we recognize, the name of someone we recognize, and to believe it's that person. So I try to talk broadly just about what can we do, especially when there's an emotional response involved, right? So scams tend to work when there's an emotional response.
Yeah.
That can be a good emotional response, right? We're off our guard. And so anytime you are connecting with someone online and you want to make sure that you're kind of doing it safely, there's some pretty universal rules. June's talking about it. Don't click on things. Don't click on links, even from someone that you may otherwise trust. If you're not expecting them, sometimes that's a red flag.
Rachel.
Yes, we always talk about those same tactics of that emotional response, the urgency in the text, the email. They want you to click on it now, whether it's a fear response of you're going to get charged extra because you didn't pay that toll, or if it's a very happy feeling in a romance scam, which could definitely turn to some fear, isolation, shame because you've already been through it. And so our biggest piece of advice is also just to pause, take a moment, and before you click on anything or send that money, put any money in a Bitcoin ATM, pause and think about it.
June?
Yes. I accidentally one night clicked on a young man just to see.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a wonderful conversation, beautiful poetry and everything. And I think we talked about 2-3 hours.
Exchanged messages back and forth for 2 or 3 hours.
No, we actually talked.
Really?
Voice, yes. And at the end of it, he asked me, can you get me a $25 card, money card? Because I can't get to my bank right now. All you have to do is go to Walmart, get this card, and I will give you a code so that I can put some money, get the money off. I said, okay. So I got off of it. I immediately put in my computer the title of the card, and it came up, beep, 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 scam, do not buy this card.
Wow.
So I called him back, and I told him, I said, I just tried to get this card, which I really didn't try to do, and it told me scam. So you're a liar, and I'm not buying that card for you.
Wow.
So we have to do our own investigations before we actually believe what another person's saying.
Rachel, I'm thinking of this scenario and thinking, well, I guess this gets added to the curriculum. You share this with people. But that's just it. This is just one of many kinds of scams that continues to evolve. So how do you arm people to protect themselves?
Yes. Just to stay diligent, to talk in community, to not be afraid or ashamed of it, so that you let other people know about your experience. There's a lot of great resources out there. One of our federal programs is called Senior Medicare Patrol, so that's focused on Medicare scams and fraud and abuse. Our AgeWell, a local nonprofit, AgeWell Middle Tennessee, is a great partner, and they do a monthly scam email. AERP has a scam watch. There's a lot of wonderful organizations who are trying to do their due diligence and share that. So we definitely recommend turning to trusted sources.
Yeah, and Bree?
To Rachel's point, June just did the most important thing, is show some vulnerability and share a real story, because it's so helpful to know, how are these scams presenting? How are we referring to them? But hearing a real story is going to stick with someone, and they'll understand how easily they present and how easily you can sort of fall into a trap that you otherwise would have thought would be a glaring, obvious situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, anytime someone's willing to tell a story, I'm all for it.
All right, well, we'll keep the stories going if you're willing to tell them. June Moore, thank you so much for sharing today. Rachel Solava of the Greater Nashville Regional Council, and Bree Clark of the Senior Renaissance Center. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And Nashville Public Radio. We're responsible for producing this show. Thank you for tuning in this hour. NextAge Season 2 on romance, intimacy, and changing bodies continues tomorrow with an episode titled, what are we going to call this thing? I think we're going to quote Joni Mitchell and say that we're seeing love from both sides now. You'll enjoy it. Please tune in. If you missed yesterday's show, the Jug Sisters of Nash Trash Tours kicked us off with a lot of laughs about this phase of life. Watch at youtube.com/@WPLN or listen at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode produced by Mary Mancini, directed by Tasha F. Limley, Liv Lombardi on the board, making us sound and look good. NextAge is made possible in part by the West End Home Foundation, advancing aging with dignity and strengthening communities, and by BlueCross BlueShield of Tennessee. This is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. Go in peace.